Alright, welcome to the BBR podcast. It's your three favorite clowns right here.
Yeah.
We miss genre bands that are in the genre, and yeah, here we are, and it's episode 143, and I am Thurgathong, and we got Crypt Incantation,
I get it.
and then we got Thongzilla. um,
Bongzilla.
yeah, sometimes these bands, these little nicknames, they're just kind of written out for you. You just got to add a G.
Yeah,
I wish
yeah.
I had known we were doing a thong theme. I would have found something.
I saw Paul's and it immediately Thongzilla.
Initially, our nickname, or I was gonna be like Bozo the Clown or something.
Me too. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking Bozo. It's like you hung up on some clown from the '60s, man.
But yeah, we're all here, and
We're in our villain arc. That's so funny. It's a small podcast. We get one negative comment. We're in our villain arc. Only you clowns would compare lubricant to this death and roll junk.
yeah, the origin story's crazy.
I think that's kind of contradictory, isn't it? Wouldn't every single person who ever talked about lubricant mention death and roll?
I think they.
If he thinks we're clowns, why is he listening to us?
Well, I've never seen that commenter before. It's not a true piglet.
Yeah, that's that. It's like a.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know who let the sheep into the pen.
Who let the slugs in?
Yeah, but I was gonna say, even in the finished book, like they talk to themselves that are in the scene of like death and roll. Strange, but
Well, then I think that's literally everyone I've ever heard mention lubricant. Death and roll is like the first thing that comes to mind. It's like first thing anybody brings up.
yeah, you like
So
listen
not
to
quite
it?
sure, not quite sure what that comment is alluding to.
He's like, no, like the demos. It's like we're not talking about the demos. We're
Maybe
talking
he
about-
didn't like the intro, which was TNT by 6 Feet Under.
Oh, that was the
That-
joke. The piggies
That's a
get
joke.
this.
Oh, joke! No, don't make jokes, Paul. You're a clown now. Get it? You're making jokes. You're a clown. Oh, you find that funny? Fucking clown. This is metal. Not the fucking comedy club.
Well, I'm
It's
funny to
not
you.
Michael Richards.
Well, I'm funny to you, like a clown. Would I
Yeah,
amuse
funny
you?
how?
Did I amuse you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
But yeah, I mean, piggies are up there with the most intelligent humans, up there with the dolphins. So I figured we all get it, but whoosh.
This guy's new. This guy's new. I don't know if you know this. Since I'm the owner of the channel, when you click on somebody's comment, it shows all the other comments that they've ever commented. This is the only comment from this guy.
Huh.
So this is not a piglet. I don't know who this is.
Just a pig.
Just a regular pig. Just a pig
Yeah.
in the original sense that I meant it. When I used to call everyone pigs and say oink oink and whatnot.
Well, he can redeem himself if
True.
if he listens, and probably actually just listen to the episode because we talk shit about what is considered death and roll.
That's true. That's
to
true.
two bands like Lubricant, and where it kind of just tarnishes, like he said, the junk of what death and roll's reputation is.
I agree with this guy. A lot of that stuff is junk, but I think it's you probably need to compare that stuff.
Yeah.
There's because when people talk about that kind of stuff, they're thinking of usually a certain thing. They're usually not thinking lubricant.
Yeah,
And
they
I don't
usually-
know how big lubricant actually is.
So I was gonna say too. I was like, he probably like came into it like knowing Lubricant, and or not in like the context of death and roll, and was like, what? Why you guys? Honking your noses and shit about this band like that.
I don't know. Yeah, these are the dark days of BBR. Who knows what's happening here?
Well, anyway, this is a special episode here. We got our first Piggy Picks.
This is not our first piggy pick. We've done other piggy picks.
Well, under this name, Piggy Picks.
Yeah, under the name Pig Picks. This is the first time we're doing that. Wonder the name. We've called them listener picks before. Listener picks.
Yeah, I don't know why we didn't put two and two together. Maybe because
I don't know how long.
are we
Well, I
pigs?
remember, like,
Are we pigs ourselves? Are we just?
we are. I don't know. We're the dude. I think it's maybe don't dig too far into this stuff.
I think we're the pig lords.
Yeah, I was gonna say if anything.
Yeah, down with that. That's fine.
I was gonna say if anything, that guy's just bacon. We
No, bacon's tasty.
Lord Pigulon.
Don't tarnish bacon like that.
we don't dare taste the other pigs though. Only the
Only in a gay way.
yeah. But yeah. So anything happen to you guys or over this past week?
Honestly, nothing really worth mentioning. I had to go back to John's. I beat Earthbound, and that's really about it. I did, kind of hung out.
That's cool. That was the week off. So
Yeah. Hung out with Trevor and Josh, and Josh got mad because I kept bringing up his the girl who friend zones him. I'm like, all right, dude. He goes, why do you keep bringing that up? I'm like, all right.
funny. And Fred, you saw Emperor.
I did finally for the first time. It
Really?
was
I saw you only took pictures of two particular members.
well, I was right at the front, and I couldn't easily get photos of the others.
Yeah, Rob was right in front of you.
Yeah.
Skibbity.
No, but no, good show. So like it was absolutely packed. I think venue capacity was like 1,200 people, and it was sold out. So
Is it like one of those venues where it has like a mezzanine and stuff, or like a
had a balcony all the way around the floor. Yeah.
Yeah, they seem like
And,
the band that would be packing houses like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. So doors were at 7. I got there with my friend around 6:15, and
Fred, we
waited
weren't
in
there.
line. I have other friends. Did you know that?
What the? He's like,
No.
I have other podcasts too.
I made them up. I have other podcasts. God. Yeah, waited in line, got in, went straight to the merch, picked up the 7-inch that they have for the tour, the 92 rehearsal stuff, which is pretty neat. They had these really cool sweaters that had like embossed print for the logo, and it was like really squishy when you touched it. And they had shorts like that too. I kind of wanted to get those, but I didn't. And some of the nice shirts they had, on the back it had the Emperor logo and the Blood Incantation logo. I'm like, oh, it's a tour shirt.
Yeah,
Anyways.
Emperor shorts. You can have that around your ankles while you're on the porcelain throne.
Right?
That'll work.
Oh yeah. The fucking I didn't eat before I got there, and the only food they had were potato chips. So I ate 2 bags of chips, and that was
Go to a show, they have potato chips.
yeah, that was it.
Wow.
They serve alcohol, so they have to serve food, and that's the food they had. So I'm like, right, whatever, just give me what you have. And then Blood Incantation started playing. It's my 3rd time seeing them.
What did you think this time?
Last time I saw them, have they released Absolute elsewhere yet? I don't remember. In any case, this time was the least entertaining for me. Like,
Yeah.
I'll hand it to them. Like, they are good performers. Like, they're tight. They do their shit well. It's just
They're
what
true metal.
But
Fred's reaction says it all.
the newest album, I think they played quite a bit from it, and there's a lot of like Tangerine Dream kind of atmospheric segments,
Right.
which don't do much for me.
No?
So when they're actually playing like death metal in the live setting, it's actually pretty good. But then they kind of wander off into these sidebars that I kind of lose focus of. Um, the last track they played was a track from Starspawn. That's before they really started going super atmospheric, so that was actually pretty cool. So I do like that first EP on Starspawn. They're actually quite good. So that was a good way to end the set. So it was actually interesting for me. But more importantly, Emperor. So I was off to the side right by the bar while Valonkantajan were playing. And I'm just standing there, and my friend finds me, and she's like, "Let's go!" I'm like, "All right." So we like push our way to the very front, and there's one Rob in front of me, and that's it. And they came on and started playing, and like it was so. I was originally concerned, like, oh, this is not going to be the Emperor that played in the '90s. Like, it's not going to be
Wait, what?
the same. Yeah, right.
Wait, what?
And it wasn't. Like, it's a very professional sound. Like, none of the sloppy black metal here. Like, it was like really tight, really professional. But they were fucking awesome, and the set list was great. They really, I mean, no huge surprise. They focused on Night Side and anthems. But they played 2 tracks from IX Equilibrium, which I thought was great because that album is fantastic. I think it's hugely overlooked. It's such a good album. And they usually play a track from Wrath of the Tyrant, so I didn't expect them to play more than one. But I did expect them to play Night of the Graveless Souls, because from what I've seen, that tends to be their go-to. But they played Wrath of the Tyrant instead, which I was stoked about because I prefer that one. So, fantastic set, right up close, right in the middle. Basically, like staring right at Isan the whole time, and like just a bit to my left, Samoth is there, and the Trim was like none of the pictures I took got Trim. He was further back, and the 2 touring members were off to the side that I couldn't really see, and like there was a lot of jostling and movement down there, so getting clear photos of the 2 main members was hard enough as it is. I didn't bother trying to get the members whose names I don't even know. I mean, who were fantastic in their own right, but just not people that I recognize. So, but yeah, it was good. Ended at 11, which is great. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get downtown. I'm gonna get home early. So then I went to a bar with a bunch of people and wound up getting home at like 3:30.
Fred got fucked up.
No, I didn't even eat or drink anything at the bar.
Nothing?
No chips?
No, I got like a cheeseburger from McDonald's on the way home.
All right.
But no, it was good. We hung out. The guy, Alex from Horde of Worms, has another band right now called Gas Mask Symphony, who play like a war black metal sort of deal. They're actually really good. And their singer, I think it's their singer? Anyways, was there, and we chatted for a while, and the singer from Knocklick was there too, and we chatted, so all around good time. And yeah, that was then I go home around 3 in the morning.
All right, sounds epic. Fred had an epic night.
Freddy's night out.
Freddy's night out.
Yeah, no, it was great. Like like I said, like it's not your like dive bar kind of performance.
It's not your
like
grandma's black metal show.
No, and like, but it was a more expensive show, obviously, right? But you get there and they start playing, you're like, okay, I see where my money went. Like, this is like a professional event, right? And I was worried that would take away from the experience in a sense, but
sickness.
No, it was great. Anyone going on that or able to catch them on the tour should do it. Worth it.
All right. I probably won't catch them again. I caught them some years ago. I think I mentioned on the show once. It must have been at least 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, they hadn't played Canada since '99, so this was like
Special.
unless I travel for them, which
All
I
the
tend not to
hordes were
travel.
there. Fred and his
Yeah.
hordes.
I tend not to travel for shows, so this is
Yeah, me neither.
probably the only chance I'm gonna get. Like I might go to Montreal, like 6 hour drive, but that's about it.
Man, I'll travel to play a show, but to see a show, I don't really want to travel that far.
Yeah, that's fair.
I usually don't even go to San Diego.
How far is that from where you are?
About 2 hours.
Oh, that's not too bad.
It's not too bad, but I've never done it. I've never traveled to San Diego for a show. I don't think I ever have. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, I did that with Aries Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
But
yeah.
you could have caught the LA show.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I think I had something else going on that day. But yeah.
Well, I mentioned I got the Emperor 7-inch at the show. Might as well do the rest of my collection update because there's only 3 other things.
Do it.
Midwinter at the Side of the Apocalypse Dragon. Cool album. I dig that one a lot. I didn't have it yet, so
Kind of
nice
sounds
pickup.
familiar. Is that that like really that like kind of instrumental one that we talk about a lot?
No, it's not instrumental. The cover is like a shot of space. It feels like the cover feels very Odium like. Musically, like it's pretty
The
melodic.
French band Midwinter?
No, Swedish.
Swedish.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering correctly, that's the one that or maybe it's not. Okay, I'm thinking of a different band. Which one are you talking about? Astral Mirrors or something else?
No, they only released one album, Side of the Apocalypse Dragon. That's the one that I picked up in '97. So, it's Midwinter. If you're spelling it with a W, it's not going to come up. It's Midwinter, Mid-V, Inter.
I'm thinking, okay, is it the one with the fucking dragon on it? Oh, no. Oh, shit. I always remember this, man. I forget what it even sounds like. I see this all the time.
I mean,
I've been hearing this for my whole life. I just forget what it does.
It came out in '97, and it's not anything like super original from the scene it came from. So like,
It's not good, huh?
if you look at similar artists, Sacramentum, Dawn, Vinterland, that's it. That kind of sums it up pretty well.
Okay.
It's got some cool keys in it. Aside from the
That
fact
logo
it's not
looks crazy.
super.
That logo
Yeah,
looks like
it's
middle school.
weird. Aside from the fact that it's not super original, it's a really good album. I like it a lot. The new Wolfnacht album. I'm not even going to try pronouncing that. Whatever. That came out like sometime last year.
I've not
And
been
today I
keeping
was
up
at a
with
record-
Wolfnacht.
This one I haven't had a chance to give it a proper listen yet, so I only got this on Friday. It's been
I think
pretty
the
busy,
last
yeah.
newest one that I heard from Wolfnacht was, it's supposed to be Hyperborea, but it's like Hyperborea.
Oh, that one's good.
That was the last time I think I've heard Wolfnacht.
That one and Project Ordensburg are my favorite. Tilton for Wotan is pretty good too. They have a lot of good albums, but
Well, I
The
mean,
one
for,
where they
like
did
the
the,
newer ones.
the one where they did the soldier marches were actually really good too. Was really good.
Soldaten Leiter?
Yeah,
Okay.
that one's actually really really good.
I would imagine you
like,
can't
obviously-
find this on you. I would imagine you can't find this on YouTube.
I remember finding some of it on YouTube at one point. I don't know if it's.
Oh,
still
here it
there,
is.
but-
It's right here.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
But obviously not metal, but really. well
There's a
performed.
disclaimer at the beginning of this video.
Shocking. But last thing I picked up today was at a record store. They had a copy of Dark Throne, Under a Funeral Moon, on CD. And I already had that.
Is that the one with the dark cover?
No, the dark cover is one I already had. So this is a repress from '95, so 2 years after it came out. But they didn't fuck up the cover yet, so you can actually see everything on it. Like the reissue is just like, aside from the one tree at the front, it's just black. You can't see anything.
You're the only person I've ever known to mention that with that issue with reissues.
But it's true, right?
It's very astute. Only a collector would notice something like that.
I prefer the term dork, but
Dork?
yeah.
Dork?
But it's true, right? Like I've posted so many stories on my profile of comparing like reissues with the originals, and the art
things
quality
that
on
dorks
the
complain
reissues are
about?
just so much worse.
Yeah, it's true. I've never noticed that, and I've never known anybody else to notice that. But Fred's right.
The for this one, Under a Funeral Moon, the biggest thing for me is at the top right you can see the tree line and the sky, and you can't really see that on the reissues. It's just black. So on the reissues, it looks like he's standing next to a tree and a small bush. Fine, but like on this original, you can tell he's like in a forested area because there's just like depth to the cover, which is really cool. The reissue, like he could be in the Walmart parking lot next to the tree there, for all we know.
Yeah, we don't know. It's not clear.
It's not. Don't approve. But I really don't. I don't get it though. Like, and the one that really like boils my corn is the Carnage.
Grinds your gears, if you will.
Yeah, yeah. Carnage.
Boils my corn?
Dark Recollections. What I don't get is, so you have the original with the logo on the bottom right. Fine. And on the reissue that came out in the 2000s, they have the same image or the same artwork, but the logo is removed from the bottom right, and they have a large version of the logo like sprawled across the whole thing. Poor design decision aside, the fact that they were able to like reprint the cover with the logo removed tells me that they had access to the original artwork. So why is it so dark and blurry? I don't get it.
I don't either. It's a good question.
I don't get it. Why? Why? Anyways.
Yeah, we need like an FC for all these reissues. A Fred check, quality check. I feel like I wouldn't buy that, but I will.
I think there's someone who does that. It might.
Sounds like they're not doing a very good job.
Well, no, they probably complain about the same shit I do. But like, I think the account is Sewer Rock Kyle. I could be wrong. But I remember seeing that account reviewing and commenting on problems with the reissues. So that's. But I take the best photos to show the problems. I'm just saying.
Paul, you remember when Drew used to say that stupid thing? He'd go, "Oh, how's your anus?"
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. Nowadays he goes, "How's your corn?" It's reminding me of that when Fred said, "You know what really boils my corn?" That's a little bit funnier. How's your corn? If you imagine Drew saying that.
Yeah, it's got.
I guess he broke his hand.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm beating up a tweaker or something.
I guess somebody's skulking around his property. I don't know.
Yeah,
stuff.
How's your corn? You gotta think about it a little bit. It's not so direct as anus.
Yep.
See, I know that happened with Miguel too. I remember somebody was like, I don't know. I think somebody was trying to get into his car or something. And he like showed me a security cam video. He's like kicking some guy's head, and he was doing the sound effect. He's like, watch this, and then he's like, when it made the kick sound.
Oh.
Well, that's something.
I don't know why when we got out of the car when I was with Black Josh, we got some pizza. Then he gets out of the car and he goes, "That was a hoot." I'm like, why? Why does that sound so familiar? He's like, Rocco's Modern Life. I'm like, oh yeah. Like, how did you think of that? That's pretty good.
God, I remember that show. Holy hell.
That was a hoot. And he wouldn't stop all night. Same with the dinosaur noises. Found something that works. Stick with it. This is graphic, but when I was with Josh and Trevor at the end of the night, I was in the back seat and I had a can in my hand and I like barfed in my mouth and then I just like spit it in the can. It was better than barfing all over the back seat.
Yeah.
That's quick thinking, actually.
Yeah, dude. I know what I'm doing when it comes to
I'm
barf.
impressed with that.
I don't usually barf, but we were bar hopping and I forgot we went to sushi and Josh like
First
kept
time for
giving
me.
us sake shots. I forgot about that. It's like cheers, another shot. There's like 4 of them. Like oh my god.
Uh,
And I forgot towards the end of the night we ended up at the brewery, and I don't know why, but we were playing that game where you like flick a quarter and then everybody keeps flicking it, keep it going. You know it spins.
What? Oh, I see.
That was stupid, but kind of fun.
see, over the past couple days, I beat both Tony Hawk Underground 1 and 2. If you guys ever played those games?
Yeah, I played both of them. Never beat them, but I played both of them as a lad. Whenever they came out, what was that? 2004 or something?
Yeah, 03, 04.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Those were the happening games. Was Underground 1? That was I kind of remember the first level. Aren't you like skating in some neighborhood and you have to collect skulls or something?
Yeah, you're like in New Jersey, and yeah, you got all these certain challenges you have to do in
I
order
think I got
to.
a lot farther on Underground 2 because that was one with the like Jackass characters and Bam Margera and Phil and stuff, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was kind
I
of
love
epic.
Jackass.
yeah. I think they, if I remember, I think they have their own game. I kind of want to play
They
that
did have
too.
a game. Yeah, I used to have it. It was fun.
Let's see.
That's
Yeah.
that's where I found that Japanese like Misfits like worship band. They were called Balzac,
Mm.
and they had a song called Wall. And I remember that plays during one of the like mini games where you're in the sewer in a raft and you have to collect pieces of poo. Yeah,
What?
Yeah, I think gotta find a ROM for that and play that because I've always seen it, just never played it.
it was actually like not bad. It was kind of good.
Yeah, so I'll save the Underground 2 review for the next week, but I'll just say my for the first one. So I said this was another replay for me. This came out during a time when skating was being made cool and accessible for kids. The first couple of Pro Skater games were arcadey in a good way. Each level had a certain objectives, spelling skate, collecting tapes, and so on. This game introduced new and sometimes janky mechanics into the series. First of all,
Janky.
you can actually get off your board, which made you run way too fast. And you
Oh,
can
that was cool.
yeah, you can jump and grab onto ledges, pull yourself up, and drop onto ramps. Secondly, there is an actual career and story mode, which gave the game a purpose beyond just finding secret tapes like in the previous games. There were also some pointless missions like driving around in each level, which mostly felt like they were there to show off the capabilities of the game engine. Suppose it was trying to appeal or pay homage to GTA games, except with no guns. Um, each of the levels felt huge when I played them as a kid, but coming back now, they feel about the same size or even smaller than the Pro Skater levels. I'll say that the story was still engaging though. Best friends becoming pro, seeing the two different paths you can go down, fame and money, or sticking to what got you into skating in the first place, the soul of skating. I do prefer the mechanics here. The tricks feel almost like a fighting game with the inputs where you press certain button combinations to perform moves rather than what came later with those like physics-based games. Those felt more or less video gamey and more simulation-based, which kind of took away from the experience for me. Part of the fun was that it felt like a game first, not a realistic recreation of physical movement. I do wish there was an option to use the classic pro skater style gameplay in free skate mode. Other than that, this was incredibly fun and easy to pick up. Most of the challenge came from balancing during manuals, grinds, and sketching. The other objectives were mostly time-based search type missions, which were fun in a way, or which were a fun way to explore the levels. The high score and trick learning missions were fun too, but they did start to feel repetitive since they showed up on every level. And I said I can't wait to play Thug 2 again. They really
Oh yeah, I
improved on.
forgot it was called Thug too.
Yeah, they can really improve on, or they really improved on the foundation there. And yeah, so I gave that one a 4 out of 5. So that one's I mean, just that whole series in general for like sports kind of platforming, shit like that. It's like honestly one of the like best games and series out there for that. All the pro skaters and I think up to Underground 2. But I remember playing American Wasteland back in the day.
Oh yeah. Well, I remember Vince had that. My neighbor used to have that.
Yeah, I remember beating that too. I wonder how that holds up. But I think afterwards there was like Project 8 and these other games,
I
but
remember this.
they kind of went in like kind of foreshadowed the direction of like where the skating games would go into, where it's like, oh, flick your analog stick to the right and like you can do a kickflip and all
Yeah,
this sort of stuff.
it's like too simple.
It, it's like that, but like also like my gripe with that is like it just like why don't you just go out and skate if you're gonna be like doing things like so realistically and stuff, versus like just putting in like combos like a fighting
Simply
game.
pressing buttons. Yeah.
Yeah, because even there was like old wrestling games from like SmackDown versus Raw from the N64 all the way to
WWE, shut your mouth. I remember Miguel used to just love saying that title. Shut your mouth.
yeah. There's like all the WWE games or WWF.
There was that one basketball game that was really colorful. The dude with the afro. The hell
Oh
game
yeah,
was that?
Street 2. Those are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like those games too.
It was Street 2. That I couldn't think of what it was called.
Yeah, those
there you
are
go.
those are cool. You have like different types of players, and there's like this really small character that like has a bunch of like handling skills. So he's just like dribbling and like breakdancing as he's fucking going down the court.
I just remember liking the art. The art looked cool. I never actually played the game.
Yeah, but comparing like the later skate games and like Project 8, they introduced more physics-based games, and it kind of reminds me of the WWE games where they were also like the Pro Skater and Underground games where it was like just button inputs, like a traditional fighting game, and then later comes like UFC and stuff, and those games are like very physics-based, and you have to like actually like use the joysticks and like weird ways to like punch and shit, and it's just kind of like it's kind of was like a stepping stone to where you get to with like VR games, but
With fucking like Wii Sports or something.
yeah, and
Fuck
it's like
that.
yeah, and it's like not even like a fucking video game anymore. It's like
I
some
could never imagine what kind of fucking pleb was playing Wii Sports. I'm bowling. Die. Die, clown.
yeah, but yeah, it's just like because they even have like those games where doing realistic driving and you have like this controller wheels, steering wheels and stuff like that. It's like
I'm in my room. I'm driving down a hill. Gran Turismo.
yeah, like those Forza. I don't know. I don't really get those games. They're just not fun to me. Opposed to like Mario Kart, where it's like obviously a video game first.
I've said Mario Kart Double Dash. I will kick anybody's ass at that game. I've always been the best at Mario Kart
That's a
Double
challenge.
Dash, in particular for the GameCube.
That sounds like a challenge.
Well, I'll give if anybody has that game, and you want to know the secret, this is what you do. You get two characters. You get the two Toads. When you get in the Toad car, when you get the two Toads in the Toad car, when you match up the combo characters, you get like a special item. And with the Toads, you get the golden mushroom. And what that does is it's like, when you, in Mario Kart, when you get the mushroom, you get like that fucking little boost. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you get the golden mushroom, you get an unlimited boost for about 20 to 30 seconds. You can press that button a million times and just fly by everybody.
Infinite dash.
Infinite, what would you even call that? Like, fucking Nas tank or something. I don't know. Not nitrous, whatever you call that when the cars go. Nitro, I guess.
Nitro boost.
Crash Nitro Racing.
But yeah. So
Well, yeah.
that was my gripe with those kind of games where it's just not even like the simulation games But then there's other ones like Power Wash Simulator and like Goat Simulator and stuff. Those are like more video game-ish rather than like um like the skate games and stuff. So I like those ones better, but they just don't work in the other contexts for
Remember
me at
that?
least.
Remember that simulator game that Kyle liked? It was called Soda Drinker Pro.
What?
Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, I remember that one. Wasn't it oh no, you know what I'm thinking about? Pepsi Man.
I don't know if I remember Pepsi Man, but yeah, Soda Drinker Pro. That
What the-
what? It says
That's a thing?
2016, but it seems older than that. I could have sworn this was a lot older than that.
Yeah, I don't remember that. Let's see. Soda
Oh,
Drinker
wow, this
Pro.
looks stupid.
You just drink sodas in different environments, and you walk around drinking soda.
Okay.
And then I remember you like there's like a floating soda, and it goes bonus soda.
I gotta play that. It's on Steam. Let's see.
It says, first person soda drinking genre. Experience what it's truly like to drink soda at the beach, in the park, in space, even in space. Yeah, that's what it says.
$5.
With Soda Drinker Pro, you don't need to have a soda in hand to experience a soda in your mind. That's what it says.
Yeah, it looks like they came out
So
with
there's
that shit
there's a video game for you guys, Soda Drinker Pro.
Yeah, because I like when the simulation games get like absurd like that.
It is absurd. Yeah, you're drinking soda in space. I remember there was one. It was like drinking soda in a strange room. It's like surrealistic art and stuff in the room.
Yeah, like that feels video game-ish, not like going to actual locations in the world and like doing skate tricks. Like, I don't know. I don't get the appeal, but I feel like those are more for people who are like actual skaters, and I kind of get into that in my second review where I talk about the second game where it's like I might
It's
as well.
much more absurd. I know what you mean. It's like it feels like a video game. It feels like you're exploring a landscape or something.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, I guess I might as well just get into the second one, second review too, because I got to figure something else to play after this. So, to preface this, I was reading like other people's reviews and just seeing what they were saying before I started playing, and this is how my review starts. What's everyone's problem with this game? Replaying Tony Hawk Underground 2, I genuinely don't understand the backlash. A lot of reviews make it sound like the game somehow got worse over time, but that feels more like a purist reaction than an actual critique. Like it's not like the pro skater games I grew up with. That's exactly the point. Thug 2 takes the already phenomenal foundation of Tony Hawk Underground and turns into something way more fun and self-aware. Instead of trying to stay grounded, it leans fully into absurdity. You're not just skating realistic lines, you're doing tricks off literal bullshit.
Oh
And-
yeah, I remember that one.
And the game is better for it.
I had that game. Shit.
Yeah. The story mode levels feel lived in, with each location around the world having its own identity, not just visually, but through the challenges themselves. Even when they lean a bit into being stereotypical, they were never generic. There's always something weird or memorable going on. The variety in gameplay is such a huge step up. Each level lets you play as custom characters, pro skaters, and a bunch of special secret characters like Ben Franklin or Bigfoot.
Oh
each,
yeah.
each with their own objectives, and unlike the vehicle sections in the first game, which felt unnecessary, these characters actually enhance the gameplay. They're fast, responsive, and don't feel like gimmicks. Because if you remember, they play, I think you're like on a fucking chainsaw skateboard as Bigfoot, and Steve-O, you're like riding a mechanical bull, and they kind of drive.
Oh yeah, man, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah,
But
they.
yeah, I do remember the mechanical bull.
Oh, Fred, you're buzzing.
Again?
Yeah, but yeah, like with those, it kind of gave the same type of feel as like driving a car in the first game, but it wasn't like it was actually objectives you had to do, not just fucking. I think 2 of the missions were just drive as fast as you can without going off the brake.
I think that's why I liked that game so much. There was so much weird shit to do.
Yeah. And
I love when games allow you to do weird shit. I think that's why people like Donkey Kong, because you could be like a rhino and an ostrich and a fucking bouncy snake and stuff.
yeah. So
Those are great.
I'll continue. So I ended up completing every objective for every character because it was genuinely addicting. What really stood out is how the objectives can change the levels themselves, like releasing the bull in Barcelona or awakening zombies in New Orleans. Those moments make the world feel reactive instead of static. My only real complaint is how the game sometimes pushes you to the next level before you finish everything. Sure, you can go back, but it breaks the flow a bit, especially if you're in a deep binge playthrough. Mechanically, there aren't a ton of huge changes from the first game outside of things like the Nasta spin or climbing, but that's fine. The core gameplay was already close to perfect. This just refines it. And the addition of classic mode is huge. It brings back the 2-minute runs of classic objectives along with returning levels, and it honestly makes the game feel complete. I ended up finishing both story and classic mode, and I couldn't put the controller down. Chasing that red line through every challenge is still as satisfying as ever. A lot of criticism focuses on the bamification of the game, centered around Bam Margera, but that's part of what makes it work. Bam didn't water down skate culture, he expanded it through things like Jackass, Viva La Bam, and even bands like him and CKY.
Bam was an epic bastard.
Yeah, skating became something bigger, louder, and more chaotic. Thug 2 captures that energy perfectly. As someone who leans towards gaming rather than skating, that side made the whole world more interesting to me. It made the game feel unpredictable and alive. Coming back to this game more than 20 years later, I was surprised by how much stuck with me. The levels, the characters, even specific challenges. It all came back instantly. Playing it again felt less like revisiting a game and more like tapping into a memory that never really left. I remember taking turns with my brother handing off the controller after every failed attempt, trying to finish each other's runs. It was chaotic, frustrating, and honestly, one of the most fun experiences I had growing up. Not many games have that kind of staying power, and we're playing it now. I'd argue the people who say this isn't as good as they remember might just be looking for a different game than the one Thug 2 was trying to be. These same people were the opposite of the developer's namesake. Always soft.
Always soft.
Yeah.
Not never soft.
Yeah.
It's so funny. We brought that up at Josh's. He has a sticker from Unmodern, and it's the Neversoft logo, but with their name. And I was telling the guys, I'm like, what was their name, Neversoft? And they're like, yeah, I think so. So there you go. We never actually fucking got the actual name, but Paul just said it. It was Neversoft.
Yeah.
Neversoft.
Yeah, because a lot, they just, like, although if they were to have, like, the skate game, like, something more accessible for me, it would be, like, adding, like, more video game absurdity to it. Like, make it a video game first with these realistic mechanics, and it'd probably be better for it. But yeah, so that was my review of the second Underground, and I just gave that one a 5 out of 5 because it was just, I think I beat both story mode and classic mode in 3 days. It was just like I couldn't, every time I had some free time, I just picked it up and played.
I think for all the reasons you just said too, that's why I liked Jackass, Viva La Bam, CKY during that time. So when I was younger, I tried to skate. I was never good at it, and I like hung out with skaters, and I was like the poser. I was like the poser skater who just couldn't skate. I don't know if that makes you a poser. I just wasn't good at it. Well, maybe it does, just because I like didn't practice enough and I didn't care. But I think that's why I liked all that stuff, especially like Viva La Bam and CKY. Is like the skating was not really even the main part of it. That was kind of like an afterthought. It seemed like.
Yeah, that's like they expanded it and made it more into a culture.
It was just ruckus. It was just like dude entertainment for dudes.
Yeah, it was like
it was perfect at the time. We were the perfect age at that time. I was probably in middle school when Viva La Bam just started, so it was kind of like the perfect time to just I don't be laughing at that stuff.
Yeah, so I was like skate culture already had like its own, sport kind of like identity, but then make it into like what you think of now as like skaters, these kind of like just fearless people who do like just crazy shit all the time. Like I think that's what
It was more fun. It was
yeah.
more fun. Nowadays, I don't like skaters have no culture. Skaters are. I might get an angry skater in the comments saying we have culture, but that's just the way I see it. The way I see it is like there's no big thing, and there isn't. Like Viva La Bam, Jackass, that stuff was huge when we were young. Nowadays, I don't see anything. When I see skaters, I'm like, I hate the way you're dressed. That's like what I think.
Yeah, usually I just see skaters using a skateboard to get around.
Yeah, using a skateboard to get around. I know we usually don't say this because it's like kind of cringe. It's cringe to be like, oh, but there wasn't any kind of political thing about Jackass Viva La Bam. It was like straightforward fun, and you really don't see shit like that at all anymore. It like doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of like living in the past because the present kind of sucks. And honestly, the video game thing, I'm way more open to that nowadays just because I understand everything else kind of sucks. Everything else has been sort of just lameized. So all we have left is video games, maybe. And maybe a few other things, but video games is probably like the one of the cool escapes.
Yeah.
We still have metal, but that's getting ruined too. You know what I mean? We still have the good stuff. That's why we have to talk about old shit, because a lot of the new stuff is being ruined.
Yeah.
Not just metal, not just skating, but kind of everything.
Yeah, just get something to emulate, and you can play like every game that you either missed or want to replay, and that's what I've been doing. So.
Yeah, I've been grinding on fucking Earthbound. I finished that yesterday. Just beat that, and it's been great. Like I've just been watching like sci-fi movies in the background while I'm playing that. And like I haven't really been on my phone, which is great. I'm not scrolling. I'm kind of like yelling at my fucking Game Boy, which is kind of fun. Reminds me of when I was a kid. I'm like, fuck you, fucking asshole moles, that kind of thing. But yeah, I think Earthbound, like I said, when I saw Sam Hyde live, I think that ruined any other comedy set for me. I think Earthbound has sort of ruined any kind of like RPG, possibly. Because right after I beat that, I tried Dragon Quest. I'm like, this is boring as fuck. But I bought. What's that?
Yeah, I was gonna say it seems like Earthbound leans also like story wise and gameplay.
Yes, that's what I need. Like I need an RPG with a story. Dragon Quest is just like there's no story and it's kind of like just stupid.
Have you played Chrono Trigger?
No, never played Chrono Trigger.
That has one of my favorite stories in a game ever.
That's like a turn-based thing too, right?
It is.
I might try that if I can get my hands on it.
I think that one's they have a DS port for that. That's like supposed to be the best way to play it, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see. I did buy Pokemon Sapphire, which for whatever reason I always wanted to play. I never did.
Oh, that one's great. That third generation is.
Yeah. It seemed cool because it's all new shit that like I didn't know about, and it's not that late either. It's 2003. So,
no, like that was that's probably like honestly probably peak Pokemon there.
Yeah. So I bought that. I think I'll probably be grinding on that for a while once I finally get it.
It's kind of like the original ones where there's Fire Red and I guess the Game Boy Color ones where it's just red and blue.
It was red and blue and yellow.
Yeah, so yellow in that generation, there's one like that where it kind of combines both the sides, because you basically get, I don't want to say half the game, but you're missing like a quarter from each. And then if you play the third installment of that series, Emerald, you get everything in there.
Yeah.
So if you were to, if you didn't pick up Sapphire, I recommend getting Emerald.
No, I did pick up Sapphire.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm going with. I think I might have played Emerald a little bit. I'm not sure. The one that I remember playing of the later series was Leaf Green, which
Yeah.
was like kind of a remake of the first ones, but they added on shit.
Yeah.
Either way, whatever.
No, yeah, those are fun. I've had so many times just playing it anywhere and everywhere. So, just a game that you can pick up and put down, and you don't really have to be like grinding it, but it definitely has that capability.
Yeah. Paul, go baby mode first. Go the first Paper Mario. See if you can do that with no hints or anything. I want to see if you can do it. I wonder if an adult could, because I played that when I was a kid. I want to see if like an adult could figure it out.
Yeah, I'll try that one out.
It's a good one. Because I would, well, I mean, I think Earthbound came out before those, so maybe you want to go chronologically. But honestly, I think I liked Earthbound better than Mother 3. I didn't expect that. I was like, Mother 3, this will be a refined kind of version of that, 2006. And then when I started playing Earthbound, I'm like, I don't want to do this. And then when I actually got started, I'm like, this is pretty good. And then by the end, I'm like, this was actually better. I see why this is the famous one, because I didn't even know Mother 3 existed. I think I just looked up like Game Boy Advance games, and I just happened to find Mother 3, and I bought it. I bought all of them at once for like $30, all 3 cartridges, or all 2 cartridges.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that one was great.
And then
It was fucking crazy.
yeah, I gotta play those. Been stuck on the PS2 emulation, but maybe I change of pace.
Rayman 3, you got to play that for the PS2. That game is hilarious.
Yeah, I remember playing those ones.
Oh, did you?
Hmm.
Oh shit.
I was gonna mention, we did pickups earlier, but I didn't mention mine. I finally got Axis of Advance Obey, so now my AOA collection is complete.
Yeah?
Until Fred pointed something out.
Well, they also have the list on cassette.
Yeah, I think they have all those.
They have other stuff on cassette. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I don't really need other copies of things
I got you.
other than I think I just found the Strike vinyl after I got the CD, so
I have all the CDs. The only thing I'm missing is, or I have all the CDs and then landline, vinyl. Only thing I don't have is Purify. It's the only one I don't have.
yeah, I got it over the weekend at this well, I was actually gonna go to the shop. It's called Vinyl Command. I think they're in cahoots with that show that's gonna be going on later this month in Arizona.
Cahoots?
What show is that?
The one with like Pestle and Death and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember going there last year on like a work trip, and I was centralized more towards the Phoenix area, and their shop is in Mesa, which is maybe like 15 minutes away from there. And I was able to just go, and I saw that they had the list and Obey. And when I went over there, I got the list and the Maquahito vinyls. And then I was just always in the back of my head like, oh, if I go back, Arizona again, I need to pick up Obey, because I'm looking online and it's going up to like, let me see what the actual prices are right now. But I was able to just pick it up for $25, which isn't bad. So let me see. Yeah, it's like $20 to $50. Yeah, so I think I got it a little under, because all the shipping would throw it over to like $30 there. And it's all out of state, or out of the states, to get it online right now. So I'm glad I finally have all those.
There you go.
But yeah, you didn't get anything?
Me?
Yeah.
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 Julian got a haircut and he was feeling himself. Now he's back on YouTube.
Oh yeah, that
There
was
we go.
He got the Paul cut.
No, you got the Leon cut.
Yeah, you did get the Leon cut.
Yeah.
Leon!
I got like some, I don't know, Depeche Mode kind of cut.
You look up Ashley's skirt. She goes, "You pervert!" With the scope rifle.
Yeah, the remake, she's like oblivious. She doesn't say anything.
In the first one, they rendered her hotter. They made her with like big ears, so it's like more realistic.
Gotta get one flaw in there.
You need a flaw or two with women. If they're you can only be beautiful if you're if there's something askew. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like Sammy with the fucked up eye. Exactly like that. And plus, she was insane, which is kind of awesome. She had psychosis.
Well, with that...
Base hooligan recognized the goat, Julian.
True.
Paul dies right there. Paul's dead.
Die of hiccups.
Just
Yeah,
gropes.
die of one hiccup. I'm dead. So how'd he die? He hiccups.
I had the hiccup.
Yeah. I was talking to some dude at John's place. Is that dude that like was giving me shit because I said Goodwill, more like Bad Will.
Oh, yeah.
It's like yeah, that guy. And because he knows cranium. That's how we first started talking. We were talking about cranium. And I'm like we were talking, I'm like, oh, you know Don? He goes, no. This guy's older than me. I'm like, you don't know Don? And I'm like, Autumno? I'm like, Afflicted? He goes, no.
You'll tell him no. No.
Yeah. Autumno, no. Again, we're back to the, like, dude, come on. Know something, for goodness sake. It's crazy.
It's asking a lot.
It's crazy. And these are so-called metal people.
If a band interests you, at least in my experience, I look into them a little bit. And you can
Same.
find the surface level band connections.
Yeah, same.
Right.
Nothing's worse than a know-nothing.
You
Because then
need-
you just sigh and you have to go, oh, that's unfortunate. You have to go Jerry Seinfeld. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Well, with that, let's go on a break.
A 10-minute
Great.
hiatus.
We'll be back.
Dies ist Antimessia from totale Vernichtung, Antjure Listen in Tote Bunsenboner Recordings Podcast.
All right, we're back from our break.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. So we're gonna be going into some Piggy Picks, some Pig Picks, and these are submitted to us from very active pigs in the pen, always commenting, always supporting, and we appreciate them.
Yeah, totally.
So we wanted to get into the first band, which is Desolate, and this is, I think they have like demos from like '93, stuff like that, playing more in like a sort of weird hybrid of like Black Death
Yeah, agreed.
in that style.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like if Incantation was a black metal band at some points, but
Yeah.
they don't really stay in the black metal sections very long. Dual vocalist band. I don't know if it's two separate guys, but there's two different styles being.
It seemed like on this compilation, they only got into the black metal like at the very end.
Yeah, so I suppose that's going to be later in their releases
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
that they started implementing stuff like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
if I remember correctly, I think one of the guys had something to do with like Scattered Remnants, and hearing it kind of has like sort of proto brutal death metal inklings in there. I don't know if you guys got that from
It's
there.
it's definitely very heavy sounding for the time. I don't know if this stuff was like remastered or not, but it's it sounds way heavier than it should, I think.
Yeah, there's a remaster out there. I just heard that one today. And it looks like they're still pretty active. So they had these two demos out, 93, 94. Came out with the compilation 2012, and then they had two albums after that, 2015 and 2024. So it seems like a band that's, either broken up or on hiatus and came back together or something like that. But yeah, it looks like the guy Eric Roy on drums was in Scatter Remnant for an EP, and the compilation later, a couple tracks there, and I think for both bands the sort of connections with bands I'm more familiar with are through the drummers. So like with Scatter Remnants, we got the drummer here from Desolate, and then with IC Rex, the drummer was also in Devilry and also Rahu, which is interesting point with those kind of bands. They share, I guess, like
I was interested in Rahu for 1 second.
yeah, me too.
The album with the like blue dudes on it.
Yeah, it's like the Metzotol guys or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. Well, I think that was more like Hindu mythology.
Yeah, and then I think they're both akin because it's these Finns doing some like Hindu mythology, and then here it's like more Middle Eastern leaning, and they have kind of similar art, not like as a whole, but kind of like just the aesthetic of it, like some like weird painting that's giving off some like mysticism or something. But back to Desolate, really really heavy death metal that has quite a variety of different things from death metal, and especially coming from a time like 93, a lot of things were available to, like, I guess take from. A lot of things were already created, and it seems like the mashup here is like someone that had a real ear to like the underground, and because there's certain sections that are like almost finished with these sort of melodies that shine through in certain sections, and then there's also like really really doomy ass parts in there too, as well as some black metal sections. And I don't know if there's any bands that early on doing like the trade-off kind of vocals besides like Carcass and more, I guess, like grindy bands, unless you guys have any in mind.
No, this kind of
I
just seemed
think
all-encompassing, I think, to me.
I think Insanity might have been doing that at that point. I'd have to go back and revisit the demos, but on the album, which was in '96, definitely they were.
Yeah, it
I
seems
think
like
Satanas was trading off vocals like that too.
okay. Yeah, it just seemed pretty early for that kind of thing, especially with how different the vocals are. It's almost like kind of uh, jarring black metal vocals, and then traditional death metal vocals. But this one was submitted to us by our one true intern here. He's the timestamp king. Got Koq. He's been on a couple of the shows for some picks, and he's always been had like a very similar taste into things that I guess we both come to on our own. And he seems to be one of the only people that I could talk to about death and roll and weirdo death metal besides Dan and Fred. So it's cool that we're able to pick something that he submitted. So I asked him, I wanted to see if he had any insights on the project, and why he wanted us to cover it, because at first glance and second, I was not familiar with this band, but you guys were a bit familiar with it, but we'll get into that later. So he says, and I haven't pre-read these, so I'm just gonna go as it. This first time seeing it, so said, why recommend this? I was originally gonna recommend another stranger, thrashier Russian death metal release, but ever since Paul's thrashphobic outburst on the Bloodstone episode, I have pussied out and decided to recommend something more palpable or palatable. Plus,
Dude, never be afraid of pissing off Paul.
Thrash-phobic outburst.
So he said, plus I thought it'd be a good change of pace to go over a release that's more along the lines of traditional 90s death metal, to contrast against the flurry of esoteric fringe releases that are the bread and butter of BBR podcasts. It's time to eat your vegetables, Piggies.
Yeah, I get that.
And he said, any insights? While I don't have much info on these guys since interviews are scarce online, looking at the thank you list on Scourge of Sanity demo, they were part of a larger New England death metal scene, in contact with bands like Suffocation, Scatter Remnants, Phantasm, Tyrant Trooper, etc. It was kind of tempting for me to group them as a more European extreme metal influenced American act, like an inversion on the more American sounding Scandinavian bands, especially with the more black metal inflected direction they would take on later. And while the influence is certainly there, the meat of the riffing is more muscular and American on a closer examination. So, thanks, Koq, for those words. Always funny. So, yeah, when I was hearing that, it seemed like I couldn't really place these guys when I didn't bother like going into metal archives to see where they're from, and of course they're from up northeast, and I couldn't really put a like regional sound on them. It kind of just seemed like a more primordial soup of death metal from that time, like something that was just kind of, like Dan said, all encompassing of what was going or what was in the water at the time. But at first you guys said that you weren't familiar with this band, but I think a day went by, you're like, oh, I am. So let's go into that. How are you guys with those?
I didn't know these guys in detail, mostly by proximity. I've got a bunch of releases on Pathos Productions, and I'd seen that Pathos had released this demo compilation, but never really checked it out. I agree, it doesn't sound like any specific scene, although if I had to pick one, it'd probably be New York a bit.
Yeah, more along the lines of like Baphomet and Banish and stuff like that. Just really, really heavy shit.
Yeah. So it was new to me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. In a I don't have a ton to say about them sort of way, which is weird.
Which is great for the show. I'm just kidding.
Right?
Talk about the release. More guys calling us clowns.
I liked it. Next. It didn't sound terribly original to me. Aside from the fact that it came out, or these demos came out in 93, 94, it's possible that some of it had been a bit ahead of its time, but not by much. I think it was more or less on par. And aside from being well executed and enjoyable, there wasn't anything particularly unique about it. I know that sounds like a criticism, but it's not. Most of the time, I don't want my stuff to be fancy. I just want it to be good, and it was. But yeah, definitely a lot of black metal sound there. I think it was Paul who described it as Incantation performing black metal is a pretty spot on comparison.
Yeah, because they have a lot of the like incantation style riffing in there with just like the really low tremolo, um, heavy
Especially
strings. So
on the later demo,
yeah.
which I think is first on that compilation, right?
Oh, is it? They kind of mix the order around.
I think they put the
94
later
first.
demo first. Yeah.
Huh. I thought it was opposite because I was coming to like a lot of the stuff that came later on the comp a bit more. It took a little getting, I guess, putting down the veggies for me because, like he says, I normally tend to gravitate towards more, I guess, unique takes on genres that I really like, and this seems like kind of meat and potatoes, but there are certain sections in here that like really shine, like the finished melodies and stuff like that. And these songs are damn long. Like I think the shortest song is 4 minutes 20 seconds. The rest that goes up
Yeah.
to like 8 minutes, 7 minutes, 5 minutes seems to be like their, what they're usually coming out to. But yeah, like I think the first time I heard it, I was like, oh man, an hour, and it felt long. But upon re-listens, it just got by faster and faster as I became more familiar with the songs, and I really started enjoying it a lot more. But Dan, what's your experience with the band?
Well, Bestial Conclave, he commented for us to cover this, and I didn't recognize the name Desolate, Desolate, so I just said no, not familiar. Uh, Little did I know that I actually own. Well, I own two releases by bands called Desolate. One is from a band called from Bulgaria who played like melodic Black Death. I have their 1998 full length. It's called Eventide of the Orb and Heavens. So I totally forgot about that Desolate, but it's not. That's not the right Desolate. If you haven't heard that one from Bulgaria, that's also very good. Um, yeah, I was pretty sure I wasn't familiar with it, and randomly I was looking through my cassettes, and apparently I own something from this band that I really didn't realize that I own. I don't know where I got it from. Uh, it's possible that I got it from the death metal guy when he gave us a bunch of stuff when we went to visit him.
Hmm.
I don't know that for a fact, but maybe because I have 2015's Imperator of Flames, and I listened to that first before I went to this compilation, the 2015 full length, and that one is actually quite good. It's it's pretty similar with the comp stuff where it's like kind of heavy like detuned death metal, but there are a significant amount of like black metal parts in it, to the point where it feels like a mix of both. I wouldn't say war metal, and I wouldn't say something like let's see, what would be like I don't know, the most popular one would be like fucking Behemoth or something, but it doesn't really feel like that. It feels a little bit more like Soulburn, or like who the fuck else could be a comparison here? Like Soulburn, or like
Yeah, I was gonna say that they kind of have like this approach of like Celtic Frost, where it seems like all these distinct parts are like melded into each other, not so refined in like a style of their own, but each part is sort of unique in the way that they mash it up.
well, it reminds me a little bit of the first God Dethroned album. From what I've heard,
Oh yeah.
yeah, from what I've heard, like the fucking J Dog, he doesn't like the first one. He thought it was generic.
What?
Which that's kind of retarded. That album is extremely unique.
Yeah.
It's a lot better than the other stuff. The other stuff is a little bit.
That's more generic, I think.
that's yeah, to me much more generic. It is moving in the direction of Black Death, but in a way that's less heavy and less esoteric and less cult. Like the first God Throne album is probably the epitome for like stuff that you would call black and death metal. And I kind of like that term too, because that just means it's death metal, but it has a, maybe little inklings here and there of black metal, which is what I heard on the full length 2015 from Desolate, and you can kind of hear that a little bit on the compilation too, towards the end, and I suppose towards the some of the earlier tracks too, because it does have that that vocal contrast, and it also has this weird kind of like how would you even say, like spastic moments of like chaotic type shit, like cataclysm or some shit like that. It does have like these really strange bursts from mid-pace groove to like doomy stuff to these like huge blasting moments, and I think the huge blasting moments are like very indicative of like American black or American black and death metal, honestly, because that stuff was a little bit interchangeable. So I could see where this is maybe a little bit comparable to like Master's Hammer or like early Profanatica, or like even something like Deicide too. But I totally get where Paul was coming from as well, where it's like I hear a lot of Scandinavian stuff in here for sure, a lot of emotional mid-pace and slower riffs, not to the point where I would call it melodic death metal, because there are like harmonies in these like kind of emotive parts, but they don't really, same thing with the like Paramecium release that we talked about. It's not power metalish like melodic death metal is, and it's also not death doomy to the point where it's too sort of sluggish. It has sort of that sweet spot, which is just kind of pure death metal. But yeah, dude, it's extremely heavy, and I really like this one. This sort of reminds me of that other thing that Austin brought on. What the hell was that band called? Necrolatry. Reminds me of that a little bit. One thing that I'll add on to what Paul said about the sort of incantation thing. I usually don't. I know a lot of bands in the past, like maybe 10, 15 years, who have done the incantation worship thing. They usually go for this very primitive and very minimalistic sound, but I never saw incantation as that. I always thought of the first album and sort of their wildest, most confusing riffs that almost sound like Portal or something. That's how I usually perceived incantation as, and not as this ultra primitive thing.
Yeah, like 3-note riffs type of things. But yeah, I think a lot of the guitar playing is kind of also in structure very, maze-like, but the riffs themselves are sort of like that too. Like they go on very long, like the Mean Potatoes death metal parts where it's kind of more mid-pace sounding. Like those riffs are like really fucking long, and it seems like it goes on for not as many counts as like the outburst ones, where a lot of the variety and tempo switching seems to work well when done quickly, and the more slower mid-paced death metal parts work well when there isn't very many repetitions of it, and the riffs are kind of just spread out longer, so it kind of takes up the same amount of time as like a fast outburst part. So it also kind of reminded me of when we were talking about, I forget the other band, but Judecca and the
Excruciating Pain.
Yeah, with Judecca kind of being more this like mystical, like sorcery type of death metal. Like it kind of gave me vibes of that when they would come in with these lead moments that reminded me of like Finnish death metal. I don't know if you guys, found that too.
Yeah, like I said, it does have the Scandinavian death metal influence in there for sure.
And I'll say I really enjoy the cover too. It's not something I expected. This like kind of brownish, color palette, and then just some dude hanging in the woods. Like,
Usually I would say no to something like this, but here it works. Yeah, I agree.
I did say no to something like this when I saw it on the Pathos lineup. I was like, ugh, and I didn't check it out probably because of that.
it kind of reminds me of something like more of like the death metal side of deathcore would be having
Yeah.
like album covers like this.
Either that or like bad DSBM that I don't want to listen to.
Yeah, it has that
Yeah,
like
I can
very
see that.
digital look to it, but
Somehow it works. I'm cool with it.
yeah, because when I heard this, it doesn't really have like I don't when I'm looking at the cover and hearing the music, they kind of don't mix well, or but it's not like off-putting. Like I don't think of someone like Eternal Suffering. You're just like brutal, but you like cry and shit, and like you're all
I
like
mean-
suicidal. But
I'm just gonna call a spade a spade. I don't like the cover. I don't like the logo either. Not the logo they use on the cover. When they kind of even it out for later releases, but the logo
Yeah,
they
they
use on
do.
this demo comp is like feels lopsided. And I don't like it.
yeah,
It's a little jarring, but I don't mind it.
yeah. Well, I suppose let's pick two songs from here. I think it would be good to do one from each side of the demos. So I have one for the second half, which is the 93 stuff. If you guys have a song in mind for the 94 stuff, I think it's going to be the first four songs. Do you guys happen to have one that you like in particular from that grouping?
No, I don't remember the song tracks. Maybe we could try song 4, Endless Infection. Just sort of a blind thing.
Okay, because the one that I like from that group is Freezing Death. That one's about 8 minutes, unless you guys want to just get into the 4-minute one with Endless Infection.
Yeah, let's do the 4-minute one. We did some long songs last week.
Sure.
Okay. Alright, well, we're going to listen to the fourth song, Endless Infection, and we'll be right back.
Yeah.
we're back from the Endless Infection. What do you guys think of that one?
I think originally when I heard this, when I heard the vocals to it, I was like, God, this reminds me of something. And I think what I came to was that this reminds me of the River of Corticone a little bit. It's the way those vocals are sort of executed.
Yeah, it almost seems very like painful the way he's doing the higher ones, yeah. And like it kind of reminds me of like, I don't know if you guys seen any footage of like I just came across this past week. It was like a clip of the Bastard Noise live, and it's like the dude and his like wife screaming over like some noise, and it kind of sounds like the main guy doing his vocals. It's like some old motherfucker like just straining the fuck out of his voice. It's kind of fucking hilarious doing it. It seems like there's like not like much power behind it. It's kind of, just tearing away at his throat. But I like a lot of the composition here where it's very like they do like two little slow repetitions, dun, 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 and then they go right into like a blast section. It seems to just be going in between like peaks and valleys of slowing down and going fast into these outbursts, which is good for something like this. It doesn't stay too long in like any particular section where it would come across as like boring, where the later incantation clones, kind of like what Dan mentioned, will stay in the more mid-pace primitive side of incantation, and that kind of stuff gets really boring for me. And here where it's contrasted with like these faster, even like hyper blast parts really work, and changing the groove works as well. And it seems like a lot of the riffing, especially in like the slower, more tremolo single notes stuff on the heavier strings, just have like such a eerie vibe to them too. But what do you guys think of that song, riff wise and stuff?
I enjoyed the last half. That part felt very incantation-y to me. Dan pointed out the vocals feel like they're losing a bit of steam towards the end. I would agree with that.
Seemed like they ran out of patterns at the end. They didn't know what to do.
Yeah, and they kind of just did that same grunt over and over again. So that I wasn't huge on. I mean, like, it's not bad, but it could have been better. But the actual like riffing, where it's kind of just roiling around itself at the end, that's pretty cool. That very reminiscent of Onward to Golgotha for me.
Yeah. Charlie?
Yeah. First off, I really liked the first riff. I thought that was great. It kind of had like 3 chords in it, like a 3 chugging kind of chord, but it was done in a weird dissonant way that did sound black metal, and it kind of abandoned that immediately. And where you guys said that this maybe goes incantation, I would disagree. I think this song in particular is an American take on Carnage. Dark Recollections, for sure. Because even Paul said that's kind of like a melodic death metal riff. Well, that's like a riff that Carnage or Cemetery in particular would do, where it's this kind of simple thrash idea, but they've made it so much darker. But it doesn't need to be labeled as melodic death metal at all. That's just a straight death metal riff. Very simple. It went for like 2 counts. But yeah, I think most of the riffing in this song, honestly, Dark Recollections, I think, is a huge piece of the puzzle. Probably not incantation. I don't really hear that much in this song. I heard just kind of rock and Swedish, which Carnage sort of mastered, I think, very early on, 1990. And I've been a little. I guess I've been a little bit maybe dumb to this, where it's like I'm not sure if there are a lot of American bands that have done the sort of D-beat groove style of that album, because that's a great album. I don't think it's been done to death though. People have done the Swedish thing, but not to the extent that Carnage has. I think that has a certain quality where it's like primitive D-beat stuff, but still very distinctly and primitively like dumb death metal, which I think this has a lot of DNA like sharing.
Yeah, there was certain sections where it kind of gave that Scandinavian vibe too, especially drumming wise. You mentioned like the D beat, they do that here and there. I think there's maybe 2 sections where it's the same riff, but they change the beat. And when you mentioned Carnage, it kind of clicked there with just that sort of Swedish death metal style of kind of like, I guess, the lack of a better word, like Ringo drumming, where it's just kind of very for the riff rather than like show offy in any way. So yeah, I thought that was a good song. That one was kind of absent from like any black metal in particular. Other
I think
than
it had it in the beginning, but that was about it.
Yeah, I think I like the earlier stuff better, and coming to realize that Fred was right with the first 4 songs being the 94 demo. It seems like they really had something unique in 93, because these are the songs I kind of gravitated towards more upon listening. So I wanted to get into the 9th track, Blessings End, and this one, it seems like here it had like that amateurish sort of style that we talk about here and there with bands just doing whatever the fuck they want. And in 94, like the song we heard seems like more refined, restrained version of what they were doing in 93. So we can contrast between those. So this one's going to be Blessings End, and we'll be right back.
vocals at the end there are like the most black metal thing about the track.
Yeah, that shit was funny. It sounded like he was like, yeah, and then he's laughing. Oh man, I really love that track. Um, it seems like it just goes in between like A B sections. Not I guess in like tempo wise or in a more general sense of just being like really really fast blasting shit and then really slow lurching riffs. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll say like the way that they go from the first riff, have everything drop out, you have this lurching single note riff go 2 times, and then they go back into it, bring another section that's a bit different in that same sort of style blast, and then they make that first slow down drop out into its own almost like 2 minute section of like just funeral doom build up. Beautiful leads in there. As soon as they start smashing a little bit more notes in there, I was like, damn, this is like Thurgathon. Um, with the way that they're able to kind of make these melodies really like just like their name, kind of like desolate sounding. Um, and I do like in their slower sections they have the ear and sensibility to have these more, because I think that there's another section that was a more slowed down um, part two that there was a guitar solo going over, and it wasn't like a wanky one. It was like one that was perfectly made for that section. It's going all over the place with the more emotional type lead, and then when there's a faster part, there's like these fucking whammy bar, like winking solos that are just like perfect for those sections too. Like I think here it seems a little bit less inhibited to um, the juxtaposition of fast blasty sections and more lurching, almost like funeral doom territory. And that last doom section was like so great in the way that they layer everything, because it was just like one guitar, drums, then they bring in the bass, and they bring in the second guitar, they bring in like probably even more than just the two guitars, because it just seems like it's getting bigger and bigger as it's going along. And then they have these final releases with just like blasty sections. It's like so great, and I can't unhear the like Swedish death metal in their fast sections now that Dan mentioned it. But what do you guys think of that one in particular?
I like that they swung from like Morbid Angel riffing to Thurgathon. It's not something you hear super often um, in that um, in that kind of juxtaposition. Um, the end part where it kind of just drives the whole point home, but like really drills it into you. I really like that. It feels like a very earned conclusion to the song. Um, the laughs at the end are like the most black metal thing I've ever heard. They're great.
Yeah, and the vocals on here are so much better. It's not as like grating on the ears. It seems to be, you know, dousing enough reverb and effects for it to actually be mixed in well with the music, rather than it being like sort of ear rapey like the '94 songs.
Mm.
What'd you think of that one, Dan?
I didn't expect to feel the way I do after hearing this one up close and personal on the show, but I feel a little bit critical about this song. Because when I was listening to it earlier, what I latched onto was what you mentioned, Paul. You brought up the Thurgathon part, the like pretty slow doom part, and when it in particular gets like melodic, that's what I really liked. Um, I like that, and I think I like maybe two other of the fast parts. But honestly, this one in the beginning feels a little bit weak to me. the first two riffs that repeated, probably the first three, they felt like what was to come a little bit later from Incantation clones. So I do see where that comes from now. Uh, and it's not that I don't like that style. It's just I have to be in a certain mood for, because what I did here was like Grave Upheaval and Grave Miasma, and like Orkelian Oracle Swallowed, that kind of thing, where it's like this ultra heavy, mostly simplistic, like cult death metal. These guys are a bit ahead of the game, but it does feel very modern in a way that sometimes I just can shrug my shoulders at, and that's kind of the way I felt with this track. Like I really liked the Doom section, but some of the rest of the song just didn't do that much for me. It felt a little bit like streamlined, maybe in a way that's ahead of its time. But yeah.
So you think like the faster parts are more like a stepping stone to get to the more impactful parts, which were like the doomier sections?
I just didn't really care for those parts up until the doomy section, and then maybe one of the fast sections that was actually unique. But besides that, it did feel like a modern incantation type death metal band that we've heard a million times, even though this is a lot older. Yeah, I don't know. This song in particular, for the most part, didn't do too much for me. Just that Doom part I really liked, but the faster parts felt a little bit too
mediocre.
Like, just generic, and in a way that's ahead of its time. So maybe that's saying something, but yeah, I preferred the other track that we listened to over this one. I didn't really feel that way when I was listening to the entire thing, but I did feel it right now.
It's kind of a random comparison, but the end part of this track remind me a lot of Nuclear Hammer on Serpentine Hermetic Lucifer.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
The first and last track specifically, where they kind of get into these instrumental sections that just last for a long time. They're fairly repetitive and like kind of hypnotic in a sense.
Yeah, it has that quality, and again, like I'm not saying that it's bad, but I sort of do need to be in the mood to get into that, and when I do, it's usually listening to a full album and not just one track to sort of dissect that.
Yeah, and I think that the main difference between those more incantation clone bands and this one was during those kind of more primitive faster sections, there was like these harmonies and like or leads behind it too that kind of gave it that more black metal feeling to it.
I would say they usually have that too, though. So I don't exactly know how different those parts would actually be.
True.
That's my argument.
Thought you liked that one.
I did like this thing, but yeah, for whatever reason, this time around, that track and those riffs, they weren't doing too much for me. I do like this release in general. Like that last track that we listened to before this, I really liked. Well, I think that's kind of the good thing about this is it has a lot of different moods and a lot of different ideas go on. That just happened to be one that sounded, a bit modern, a bit too modern, for what I would like. That's a standout, I think. That's all. Not totally a negative thing, but that's just what I heard. Pretty much that description.
Yeah, and probably hearing it in the more modern sense kind of tainted your taste for that sort of stuff, especially this coming out like 93.
Well, I guess, I mean, it also has that like Lucifer's Hammer kind of feel to it as well. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it's because we've covered a lot of stuff that's similar to this before, that it's kind of that's not totally sticking with me. Maybe it's just this song too. So who knows?
Yeah.
Well, I think, like I said, it's good. It's not the most original thing you'll ever hear in your life. But
No. This one especially. I really did like the Doom sections, but those first few riffs really I don't know, man. I feel like any kid could do those nowadays. And that's not to say that it's not good from like 30 years ago. It's just I prefer the stuff from the old days that is a bit less narrative. This seems more one idea. At least this track.
Yeah. Okay, well, with that, let's get into the next release.
Ouch.
And that one's going to be Icy Rex. Fred, you have a way with words. Why don't you try to say that?
oh Lord, what, the album title?
Yeah. And the song titles later on.
Valonkantajan, Alkemia.
And I think when this was first brought up, when we were talking about the Piggy Picks, there was like a bit of like 2 or 3 minutes of like Icy Rex. I don't know Icy Rex. Who's Icy Rex? Icy Rex.
No.
Is that even a metal band? Icy Rex.
Didn't know what it was.
No.
Yeah.
Wiener.
Yeah.
Icy Wiener? Aw, crud. Here's to another lousy millennium.
Yeah, so this is a band not familiar with. Seems like it came in a later wave of like the Finnish black metal scene, and I don't know anything about this. And were you guys familiar at all?
No. We didn't know what it
No.
was. I think that's why we picked it. We didn't know what it was.
I feel like I must have seen the name at some point, but never. You know, when you see a band name that has an acronym in it like that, you're kind of like, I don't know what this is. It immediately screams to me like industrial. So I don't know if I ever saw it, because like they're on Hammer of Hate. It's a fairly well-known label. I have a bunch of their shit, but no. But I will say I was impressed by it. I like it.
And then I'll read when I reached out to Rudi, who recommended this album. Kind of wanted to get some insight and, you know, why is this something that he picked? And here's what I got. He said, this album puts most complex or weird black metal bands to shame. Instead of trying to gesture at grandiose or esoteric ideas and emotions through gimmicky guitar technique, goofy aesthetics, Icy Rex just plays the right notes. The album definitely has a distinct character, which I don't want to minimize. Excellent, spacious production and timbres, theatrical, evil bug vocals. However, the eccentricities are built on a very solid foundation of black metal songwriting. There's an excellent interplay between the keys, riffs, guitar leads that goes beyond the straightforward relationship of counterpoint and melodic doubling that is so common in black metal. Things fit together naturally, but not often in obvious or predictable ways. Not 1 ounce of performance or musical aggression is lacking despite the heady musical construction. It's nobody's favorite black metal album, but it's an excellent example of all the things our favorite black metal records are made from. Finnish underground gem without a doubt. And our buddy Brian Griffin, aka the death metal guy, also left a review for this one.
Griffin?
Yeah, when he says that a lot of people say that his voice just sounds like Seth, so and then that's just Brian Griffin's voice. So I also had the idea, but I didn't realize until today that he left a review for this.
Yeah.
I had the idea of trying to get like an AI like voice thing of like Brian Griffin and like copy pasting his review
Right.
to read it. But yeah, just
Maybe we can do that at some point before this comes out,
yeah,
if possible. I don't know how to do that.
yeah. It'd be funny. But yeah. So this is something very unfamiliar with. Upon first listen, it seemed very daunting as it was 55-minute black metal record. I usually kind of check out after around 45 minutes. And it seems like the first couple of songs were just like very, very slow and more like repetitive in that sense. And then later, as it got along, it kind of picked up speed and variety in there. And I will say that they do have a lot of what I like with black metal with keyboards, where it's just kind of like a layered splash of color in there and not like a main focal point of it. It doesn't come off like as symphonic in any way. And it seems like the foundation here kind of sounds like the primordial sort of black metal sound, like I brought up in the Desolate talk, with like Celtic Frost as like the main sort of like foundation for this, and they kind of build up on it. Not so much in the death and thrash sections of there, but the more outstanding black metal parts in those releases. But what do you guys take away from this one after listening?
Waiting for my man Fred.
Oh, I was waiting for Dan.
It's a gentleman.
So, what Paul mentioned about that
Fred
first
goes
track,
first.
or the first, the first, I guess like the 9-minute track, Allison Mailman Viroisa. All right, it's Mailman with an extra A. The build up on that track is awesome, and it releases well into the rest of the album. The vocals I really enjoyed. They reminded me of Singaporean bands, which is really random, but like as Sahar and NetherRealm have that kind of shrieked kind of processed kind of vocal style that feels like it should be louder in the mix, but it isn't.
Yeah, I was thinking like Sovereign and Hellfucked with the kind of vocals they're doing here.
Yeah, yeah. And the cover clearly shows some sort of Indian or Middle Eastern aesthetic approach, and I can kind of hear that in the music as well. Don't ask me to pinpoint how I hear it in the music, but I do.
There's definitely like some Egyptian sort of scales going on in here.
Yeah.
Especially in the first couple tracks that really stand out-ish, or really stand out for me.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me in that sense of another American band called Tahil, Ptahil. They had an album 10 years ago called Pandemonium, and the last track is called hang on, it is Chaos Rising 2, Rejecting the Future. And that whole thing feels very, very, very Egyptian. Just from the riffing. I'm not even sure it was intentional, but that's how it turned out. And that's kind of the same vibe I got from this on a few of the tracks. So I saw this described as experimental black metal. I don't think it's necessarily as experimental as they like to think it is, but it is really well executed. The aesthetic is certainly a bit more out of the ordinary than we normally see. Musically, just well executed and very interesting black metal.
Yeah, it's very, very dense with like the sort of layering that they have between guitar leads, keys, with the very primitive foundation on drums. Here, you get just a quick high to low to floor tom rolls here and there, but nothing like too flashy that's going on where
Mhm.
you would kind of expect that in something more, I guess, progressive and experimental in sections. But it seems like their rhythms and vocals are very rooted in black metal, and more of the experimentation comes from like the way that the leads and keys kind of entwine with each other in
Yeah.
sections. Um, I noticed that in the first couple songs it was very repetitious and kind of like samey, but there was like slow builds coming as the track went along. But
Mhm.
in the later ones, it seems more immediate in their variety um, as a whole band through the rhythm section as well as like the leads, which I think is was more I guess accessible for me. And there's something about these bands that came out around this time that are like very interested in like other sort of cultures and stuff. So it's like I see Rex doing this like Middle Eastern sort of aesthetic, and then you got like Cult of Fire doing Hinduism as well as like Rahu and stuff like that. It's just
Mhm.
kind of interesting, I guess. Like the whole Norse and that sort of stuff, pagan aesthetic and um, like song or I guess just aesthetic was just kind of I guess more played out, and this sort of territory isn't tread well in black metal. Not really. I guess there's like I don't want to say lack of representation, but it's just like it seems like a lot of people are going into this sort of territory here. Um, but what do you think of it, Dan?
Um, I love Rudy, but I don't know how I feel about this one in
Don't be
as
rude
a
to Rudy.
No, I know, as a total. When I first started listening to it, probably the first half I was relatively interested in. As it went on, I sort of like lost interest, and I was like, oh man, this thing is really long. um, this is really kind of a style of black metal I don't think I like very much anymore, or if I ever did. It seems to be like I might be wrong on this, but the Terminus guys, they talk about like orthodox black metal. This to me seems like the Finnish equivalent of that. Um, and I know that Bass Hooligan, they talked about this on his podcast recently. The co-host, he talked about Horna being sort of styro, and honestly, I get that because I only like honestly a few songs from Horna as well. So it kind of feels like that to me, where it's like a lot of these orthodox-ish ideas. Because I mean, it's very very modern, at least in the sense of like 20 years ago black metal. Like I don't even know these bands that are on the similar artists, but I'm looking at them and they're kind of giving me the vibe of what it is that I don't really like about Finnish black metal, which is I don't know, this like ultra polished version of this ultra polished version of it that doesn't really speak to me much.
Really,
Even something
Cosmic
like
Church is the first one listed here. That's
what.
Cosmic Church is the first one listed on Silver Artist. That's
Mm-hmm.
based on this one album I've heard. That's kind of random, but okay. Maybe other albums are closer to it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you guys can kind of get what I'm saying by that, but the modern Finnish stuff, I really don't have much of an interest for. Um, this like sort of dissonant sound, this sort of straightforward sound. Honestly, this almost reminds me of like Watain or something. Um, I just don't love the. It almost gives me like stadium black metal band, but I could be wrong on a second listen. Yeah, that's sort of just my immediate reaction to the aesthetic and what I heard.
Yeah, it was definitely, there was like a barrier to cross with like the first listen, but when I came around to listening to it a couple more times, I found myself enjoying more of it. So I think it just comes with time, and it kind of clicks. It's not going to be, like Rudy said, your favorite black metal release, but it's definitely something interesting, and I think there's something that you can kind of take away from this. But yeah,
Let's see how one of these tracks go. Let's see what we can take away.
Let's do it.
Fred, you mentioned that you had a track you wanted to get into.
Yeah, I quite like track. I think it was 3. Vakivaltais Dentulian Hekusa.
Yeah, he said it.
Yeah.
All right,
Sure did.
we will be right back. back. What do you guys think?
It's really hard for me to shake those vocals away from the Singaporean bands I mentioned before. It really feels derived by that. I don't know. They're like short bundles of screeches that just feel like those Singaporean bands. I don't know. The songwriting kind of allows it to pull through in that sense. There's I mentioned As Sahar on the Oriental Blasphemy album. The vocal patterns kind of feel similar to this as well, and when you combine that vocal pattern with the register of the shriek, it's like it's kind of uncanny almost. It's cool though. That weird little ambient interlude before it kicks right back into the guitars is jarring and almost feels like an industrial black metal approach.
Yeah, I'll say my favorite sections in here were the kind of slower rhythmic riffs, where the drums are kind of being played on the toms and less cymbal oriented. Those were just like very grooving, visceral parts. And what I do like about the faster sections, the leads in those parts aren't the like super sugary things that you would come to know from Finnish black metal, like Satanic War Master and stuff like that. It's not dissonant, but it kind of takes a little bit for you to register it as like catchy. It's not like so immediately like, oh yep, they're hitting the right catchy notes and stuff like that. It takes a little bit more time.
It's not dissonant, but it does have an element of unease as you listen to it. Like it's something feels off, and it's hard to put your finger on it.
Yeah, because I'm not too familiar with like Middle Eastern music and scales and stuff like that, but I'm guessing this band is more than aesthetic, and they're kind of taking from those sort of styles and kind of bringing it into this context. And like you said, it isn't like immediately like dissonant, but it is like something unfamiliar, which is cool because everything behind it is something we are familiar with, just like a and then with the fast blasting and 1-2 beats going behind it. But Dan, what do you think of this one?
This one was actually pretty good. I didn't remember it sounding so like 90s black metal, and that's what this does sound like. It sounds like I think at first glance it could sound like old German stuff, but I think what I sort of took away from it honestly doesn't sound that Finnish. Well, at least this song didn't. This one was kind of strange enough to where it sounded like a certain type of Greek black metal, not the shit that we usually talk about, but something like Dark Thule, who kind of has like a regular 90s black metal sound, or like even the Shadow Order, for that matter too, or like Der Stürmer on their like second or third album. And even towards the like middle, when it got into that like sort of slow section, which I like. I think that's one thing that I can say that I do appreciate about this thing. That again, this is kind of an all-encompassing thing, just like the last one, where this has riffs and not just a bunch of melodies. Because the way it opened was actually really cool. It opened with this like very high thing that sounded like early Gorgoroth or something. So I did like that. Or like Zephyrus from Greece as well, where it's like all that stuff sort of took from occult black metal and then made it its own. Oh, Narmadaron from Greece also did something like that too. Weird enough. I'm hearing sort of these Greek, not like Rotting Christ at all, but like some of these lesser known bands that took more from the European style of black metal. So yeah, honestly, that was actually really good.
Yeah, I think what makes this record shine so much is the production and performances on here. You can like really feel it. And
The keyboards are great too. I really, honestly, listening to that song, all the things I said before, with that song in particular, no complaints. So there's that.
Yeah. And like the production leaves space for all these things, like the keyboards and guitars, and the drums feel really, really old school, in a way where you can hear everything with clarity, but you could still like. I think there was like a little fumble on the drums, like in the midst of a fast section, but with that little stumble, he just gained a little bit more. Like it was like he was able to catch his breath a little bit and then keep going a little bit. So I thought that was really charming there. And yeah, this one was definitely a change of pace from the first couple of songs where it was more almost like a cold ritualistic sounding, very slow. But this one was very very fast, which is something I'm more akin to with black metal anyway. But yeah, this was a good track.
I did like the slow build up through the track 2 that leads to this.
Mm-hmm.
I find that that placement works really well for the album.
Yeah. All right, you guys got anything else to say about that one, or you want to move on to the next?
Yeah, let's see what goes on in the next one.
Okay. So I'm
already retracting my words.
Looks like the band's molding you, not us.
Yeah, you guys didn't say anything. I'm just, as we're listening, or as we're going tonight, I'm being very intent with the listening here.
Yeah. As you should.
Yes.
All right, Fred, pronounce the 5th track for me.
Oh, jeez. Valonkantajan. Oh my god. Elos Nusens.
I like the way he ended that.
All right, very good. We'll
very good.
We'll listen to that track, and we'll be right back. All right, what do you guys think of that one?
That was very good.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
standout track for me.
It's very regal sounding.
Yeah, like I was saying, that main like section where it's a kind of like more mid-paced, slower riff, and they have like the keys going behind it. It just sounds like kind of like Imperial March to me. Like it sounds so like martial, the way that it's just like so big and grandiose, and for lack of a better word, like epic, and not a triumphant sort of way where that's kind of, the horse is being beaten. But I really, really enjoyed just the restraint there. And here you get a little bit more of the more sugary sort of melodies, especially in the later half of the song. But what do you guys think of that?
I'm
Sugary
still.
melodies.
Yeah, there was some that was like more immediately like familiar sounding to me versus like that first track where the leads are kind of a little bit more. I'm like taken aback from it.
Yeah, during the middle, there definitely was more stuff you would expect from like Finnish melodies, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, go ahead, Fred.
No, I was just saying, I'm still kind of trying to wrap my head around the the drums and the production in general. And this, it, it it almost feels like a drum machine, although I don't think it is. But it has the mechanical sound to it that kind of makes me expect it to be one. I'm looking at the release now. I know there's a live drummer, but I don't know. It's a very bizarre, very precise drumming, more precise than we see in most black metal, I think.
yeah. And what a way to open the song. It does like these, dramatic chords. It's like, okay, we hear that sometimes, but the way that they have like this negative space in there and kind of whip right back into the rhythm of it, it's just like so great. And they kind of use that section in the slow down part that I really enjoy too. And it just like how we're saying, it kind of has riffs to it rather than being, just kind of chorded, like tremolo parts.
Well, that
And
opening one was really great. Wow, no, 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 wow, no, no.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Usually that would be D beated, but I like the way they do it here. I don't know. Maybe I was mistaken on my first listen of my sort of understanding for what this is supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be a little bit more grandiose, like
Yeah.
well, like theatrical, the way certain Greek black metal is.
yeah,
Like that. That's honestly a lot of what I get from this. Kawir, Agatis.
yeah. Because I heard that when they started doing the little palm mute chugs in between, the later parts too, like that was like right on the hit the nail on the head right there with that.
Yeah, maybe it's not as orthodox. It is a little bit. It definitely is a little bit, but I like the idea that that they can do these more, let's just say, generic black metal ideas and mix them with like actual songwriting, and then plus the like Greek theatrical idealism that they usually have. It's different, and I like it. And there's not too much. There's not too much like pauses or interludes or anything like that. It flows pretty well.
I'm surprised they keep mentioning Orthodox black metal because I really don't hear it at all on
I
this.
hear
Like
a little
it,
bit. I hear a little bit on some of the most simplistic parts and some of the like most simplistic melodic parts. I hear it a little bit.
Like when I
Not
think
as
about
much as I
the,
initially thought, but I hear it a little bit.
when I think about the bands that are usually associated with that tag, like I don't know, on Scap, like Watain, All for Mud, I guess Funeral Mist, like
Yeah.
that. I don't really hear that. It feels so much more. I know that I joked at the beginning that the aesthetic made me think industrial, but it wasn't actually. But the more I listen to it, the more it does feel influenced by industrial.
Yeah, those slower mid bass sections
I
definitely feel like that.
I
Yeah.
definitely hear that too.
It's kind of very. It kind of has like a weird march to it.
And the
Yeah,
more
it
that I
has a
look at
very,
that album art, I like.
Has a very Mysticum Helheim kind of feel.
Mm.
But so like that's what I heard more than any orthodox black metal approach. But I mean
It
that's just me, I
feels
don't know.
much more. Maybe I was getting that from the artwork as well, because it sort of has that feel to it. the this kind of occultist thing, but
Mm.
at the same time, these songs move much more organically than I initially interpreted. So I actually enjoy that. It's a lot. It's actually pretty good.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's something, you have to get through that first listen, and then
Yeah,
upon read.
the first listen was all I did. I'm barely on my second listen here.
Yeah, when you push past that barrier, you can actually come to find quite a few things to enjoy from this as it goes on.
Yeah, sometimes when we have these picks, I just like will listen to the record just to like get through it.
Hmm.
But and I'm like, oh well, nothing stuck. But a lot of the time, it takes listening intently on the show to kind of like bring that home.
Yeah,
It helps, right? Because the
Yeah,
everyone
it
else's
does.
interpretation of it and description of it kind of draws out things and details you didn't realize before.
Exactly. Like I'm noticing a lot of stuff I didn't before. Well,
yeah.
just because it's like what you're driving, you're working, you're doing computer work, you're doing something else. It's like here we have to actually pay attention.
You
And
got the good headphones on.
yeah, you got the good headphones on. Sometimes you just don't grasp an album at first listen. That's just kind of the way it goes. That, or at least it is for me. That's the way it's gone for a long time.
Yeah, it's definitely this one's definitely a grower on me because I was kind of with both albums. I was like, okay, I'm just getting through it, but then coming back, I find myself actually enjoying what's going on as I'm hearing it, rather than like, okay, when's the next song come on? Especially with these song lengths here for each release, they're around 7 minutes, 5 minutes plus, and it's not like immediately engaging, but when listening again intently, it really does show that they sort of earn that song length without being like boring at all.
Sure.
But yeah, you guys got final thoughts for both picks or this one in particular?
I mean, if I had to pick a favorite of the two, it would be IC Rex, just because it's as much as I enjoyed Desolate, there weren't too many elements in there that were generally surprising. Like some of the juxtapositions of it were interesting, but I find the approach IC Rex takes a lot more unique and interesting. Um, so I mean, for that reason, it was well executed. Like was I, aside from just being fairly original, it is uh, a good and enjoyable album. So uh, for that reason, I kind of enjoyed this more. But again, that's not to say anything negative about Desolate. Very, very, very good demos, but this one kind of just caught my attention a bit more because of its weirdness.
Yeah, I think here this was something like I was immediately intrigued by like seeing the artwork, the name of the band, and it was something I wanted to get into, um, just from that first glance, and then getting to it. It was a bit of a struggle on my end, but it's definitely rewarding coming back to it, and
Mhm.
um, I don't know if it's something because it's definitely something outside of what I would normally be listening to, but
Same. I would probably never listen to something like this.
I feel like I would come back to this though because it seems like there's a lot more depth to it, and just the performance of like it, the like drums come off like raw to me, but the rest of it's like very polished and intentional, like the keys, all the different voicings they have for that.
Mhm.
It's just like so purposeful for each section that it's in, like that. The main part of that last song was just like so uh, I don't know, it's just like a march to me that I kind of get from there. But yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Um, yeah, both these releases are pretty good from two listeners, from the two pigs. Honestly, I do like the comp from Desolate probably a little bit better, just because that's what I'm more used to, and that I like the immediacy. I actually kind of prefer their 2015 album to the demo. I think they refined the sound a little bit. It's a little bit more streamlined, just because they have the HM2 or something similar that on there. But yeah, this one is the IC Rex is actually kind of interesting. It has the old black metal feel, but doing slightly a little bit more. So these are cool.
Yeah,
Good picks.
I think between the two, I'm with Fred on it with the IC Rex more. There's just something a little bit more to bite on for me there. So, we went Piggy versus Piggy, and I think Rudi won.
I guess so. Yeah, I still stick with Desolate. I like Desolate better. But yeah, this is definitely interesting. Definitely cool.
Yeah, so Piggies, if you want us to talk about some records, we got a little bit of a backlog, but keep submitting things in whatever episode that you're listening to.
The guy who said subservient perversity. He's like, you didn't mention my pick.
Oh yeah,
they got some riffs.
Yeah, I gotta listen to it. I'm just like,
that's what I said.
Kind of turned off from them having more shirt designs and songs.
Yeah, they're, at this point, they're one of those bands that's like big fan base.
Yeah, so maybe I'll get the hype on a listen here, but
we can maybe do that.
Yeah, so just keep submitting those and we'll get to them. I don't see us stopping anytime soon. So,
right. You know what's crazy? It's already a Paul pick next week.
Oh, you lucky little piggies.
That's crazy.
You lucky little piggies.
Oh no!
Paul knows his episodes are the best. He just.
We'll see what I pick. I haven't decided anything yet, but I got a couple thematic episodes in my mind. So
thematic.
Yeah. So we'll
go crazy, pigs.
Yeah. All right. Well, until next time.
Toodles.
Oink, oink.
I'm searching for the